Shabbat Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Listen, January 1st, that was the date when healthcare costs goes up, and a lot of people are feeling it already. If you were paying 500, you're going to be paying well over $1,000 now. If your premium was just 100, you may be getting a bill for more like 300. So people are already noticing it, and some people knew prior to, but the deadline was January 1st, 2026. And I seen things come in the mail already. So this is going to impact so many people. They're saying 22 million people are going to see a sharp increase in their health care. Some people are already canceling. They said they can't afford it and they're not going to try to afford it. So all you're going to do, if you make it so unaffordable, this government is stupid for doing this. And, this is Donald Trump and his Project 2025 and all that. You're stupid for doing this because, in my opinion, y'all going to lose a lot of money because people can't afford it no more. And they're just going to walk around without health care. That's what they're going to do. So you're going to have a lot of people that have health care. They're going to give their health care up because they don't have the income or means to pay for it. So now you're going to have another big problem of uninsured people going to the emergency room, and those bills are not going to get paid. You would have been better off just keeping everything affordable for everyone. Yeah, there's a lot of people that were getting free healthcare. It's not gonna be free anymore. You're gonna have to pay a premium. Brick Malone, you said you went from $60 to $342. Yeah, that is a huge jump right there. That is crazy. Yeah, I mean, there are people that were saying they were paying premiums close to 1,000 for a family, and now it has jumped up to over $3,000. Nobody's going to pay that. Nobody's going to pay that. So I don't know. Donald Trump and what they're thinking, I don't know, but this is really stupid. So, I mean, all of this because you just didn't want Obamacare or affordable health care to be the predominant healthcare in the country. You want, and you notice something else I noticed over the last few weeks. Donald Trump wants his name on everything. I don't think Donald Trump's name should be on everything. You know, he already put his name on the Kennedy Center. I think it's now the Trump Kennedy Center. They said people are already canceling um booked events and everything. There are artists that were supposed to perform there. Everybody is canceling ever since Donald Trump put his name on it. Their ticket sales and everything are going down the drain. His name is toxic. I don't know why this man think his name should be on everything, but I don't know. I guess it's an ego thing. Yeah, well, a lot of people are going to be unhappy now that January 1st has passed and bills are coming in the mail. It is no longer going to be cheap for people to have health care. And I tell you what, we're going to have to, even in my situation, we got to look at what we can do. I got, uh, you know, I'm really the only one, and it's only because I have my YouTube and my little side business with my hair products, but my husband lost his job. He has not worked since November. And now, with the healthcare and everything, yeah, I mean, it's a lot to think about. It's a lot to think about, but a lot of folks are gonna drop off of their health care. That's what's gonna happen. You're gonna have a lot of uninsured people walking around. Well, I don't know, about your employers. You're gonna have to ask your employers if things are gonna go up for you, but for 22 million people, it is, and some people are being dropped, and that's another story that I need to do. There are a lot of people being dropped by their health care. That's going on as well. Mhm. Well, they said it's a high number of people defaulted on their student loans. They're saying because they even, increase the amount people were gonna pay per month, and you might have started out paying one amount, now that has gone up since Trump been in office, and the defaults, they said, are going through the roof now. There's a lot of people defaulting on student loans, and that's what's gonna happen. People are just gonna take care of their immediate needs, food, shelter, and paying whatever bills you need to pay, and some of the other stuff, they're gonna just let go. And I think financially, that's gonna be really bad. What these Republicans are doing, it to me, is bad for the country. Mhm. I mean, you already got hospitals that are closing around the country, and I can just see that accelerating because folks are just not gonna bother anymore. Mhm. See, this is why I always say it's not a good idea having rich people running things because they're not gonna care about the people that don't have a lot of money. They're never gonna care about it. I mean, rich people, they generally can't stand poor people, you know? And, all they're gonna do is spend their time undermining the very people they can't stand. Mm, mm, mm. Alright, y'all, let me go ahead and share my screen. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
2026, the standard Medicare Part B premium increased to about $202.90 per month, which is almost a 10% increase above 2025. As a result, your Social Security increase could get eaten alive. Now, for most people, that premium is deducted directly from their Social Security check before the money ever hits their bank account. And that's where the hold harmless rule comes in. This is something you need to know about. Hold harmless means this: it means that if your Medicare Part B premium goes up, your net Social Security check, the amount you actually see between the Social Security check and what they take away in Medicare, cannot go down year to year solely because of that increase. In other words, Medicare cannot reduce your take home Social Security benefit below what you were receiving the year before just because the premiums increased. Here's a simple example: if your Social Security benefit increased by $56 per month from the 2026 cost of living adjustment, but your Part B premium went up by $17, hold harmless limits how much Medicare can take, so your check still goes up, not down. But this protection does not apply to everyone. You are not protected by hold harmless if you're new to Medicare, if you pay higher income IRMA surcharges, if your Part B premiums are not deducted from your Social Security check. Those are just some examples. And IRMA can add hundreds of dollars per month on top of the standard Part B premium, completely bypassing hold harmless. So two people can receive the same 2026 cost of living adjustment, and one keeps most of it while the other loses a large portion to Medicare. That's why understanding how Medicare premiums are applied matters just as much as knowing your Social Security raise.
Nearly 60% of employers will be cutting health benefits to offset premium explosion. You have insurance and you thought that the government canceling the ACA subsidies for 28 million Americans wouldn't affect you, but it will, because there are less people to absorb the risk. Healthy people will cancel the ACA because their insurance premium has gone up. You thought you wouldn't be affected. 60% of employers are going to cut the benefits to offset the premium, quote, explosion, end quote. Did you get lucky this year? Well, you were lucky. You're now probably going to have increased premiums and longer wait times at the emergency room. The government brings in enough tax dollars to have kept these credits. They bring in enough tax dollars to fund healthcare for all, because we're funding healthcare for Israel every day and also Argentina. Hi, my name's Christina. I have a master's degree in business. Follow for more.
I've been paying out of pocket for my health insurance for almost 2 years now, and I have never had a feeling ever in my life to check how much my new premium is going to be for the year until today. And luckily I did, because when I tell you my premium almost doubled, I had to cancel my health insurance today. In 2024, I had quit my job, like up and quit. And a week before that, I found out that I had some health issues. So I panicked when I realized I wasn't going to have health insurance. So I called around and got some quotes for health insurances to pay on my own. In 2024, I was paying like $230 a month, I think, for health insurance. Not bad to me. I felt like that was very reasonable. 2025, my premium went up to $260 a month. I was like, okay, I can do that. Again, I have never, ever, ever, ever in my life had a feeling like to check how much something was going to be until today. And luckily I did. Okay. Take a guess in the comments what you think my health insurance premium was going to be for 2026. Take a guess. Okay. Almost $500. I've been paying $260 for the past 12 months. And then it was going to go up to almost $500. So I called my health insurance to be like, what is going on? Like, why is this almost doubling? And they literally were like, you're not the only one. Like, this has been happening a lot. So let's hope and pray nothing happens to me in 2026, because now I'm not going to have health insurance. Luckily, like with my job, I can see a doctor if like I really need to. But it's just like the fact of like, I'm not going to have health insurance. Has this happened to anyone else? Please let me know.
Millions of Americans bracing for higher costs and tougher choices because enhanced ACA subsidies are going to expire at midnight. When those healthcare premiums run out, prices are expected to skyrocket. KFF estimates the average premium will go up by 114%. One man tells MS Now his costs are about to shoot up from $837 a month to $2,155. That's a $1,300 increase. His plan? He will stop saving for retirement so he can afford health care for himself and his wife, who has type 1 diabetes.
Short term, savings get zeroed out, plan savings get zeroed out to pay the premiums. Try to grow my income to a point where I can save again. My wife and I have done a little bit of research into longer term, maybe leaving the country.
In response, some states like California, Colorado, Maryland, and New Mexico are trying to pick up the tab and ease the burden for residents. But some lawmakers are warning this won't last long. Joining me now, MS Now congressional reporter Kevin Fry. Also with us, MS Now's Ariel Hickson. Ariel, you've been talking to a number of Americans who are concerned about their healthcare costs. What more can you tell us about all of the stress that they're under right now?
Well, I think what they're really trying to grapple with is the fact that once the clock strikes midnight, their premiums, as you mentioned, are going to go up an average of 114%. And so many of these individuals are deciding whether they're going to be able to afford rent, put away money for retirement, or in the case of the gentleman from right before, have the ability to potentially take care of families, our family loved ones who actually really depend on these healthcare premiums. Now, this comes as so many individuals are at the point where they're concerned about what is going to happen in the future, because at this point, the premiums might be an average of 114% up, but in the next year and the year afterwards, the concern is that this is going to only rise higher and higher. And the fact that lawmakers on Capitol Hill haven't been able to come up with some type of decision is what's really frightening for them, because they feel as if they're not being prioritized as Americans. I spoke to one woman who said that she doesn't even know what the quote unquote American dream is at this point. And right now she's debating how she's going to take care of her children moving forward. Take a listen.
I think it's just, the impact on us has been a whole lot of stress, a whole lot of frustration, and I still don't know. I still don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if we're going to have to change careers. You also can't just magically go find a job in your field that has benefits on the drop of a hat. So people are being put in impossible situations. And I think it's going to get a lot worse, to be really honest.
Some 22 million Americans will begin to see their health insurance premiums skyrocket after Congress failed to extend certain subsidies under the Affordable Care Act.
So we're talking about 22 million Americans. And these are small business owners. These are chiropractors. These are, anybody who's not getting their insurance through their job or are not yet on Medicare. This is the Obamacare subsidies that were enhanced during COVID and then extended by Congress a couple of times. Those go away tonight. And you're talking about some families who are going to see hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars of higher premiums starting right away.
Millions of Americans just woke up in 2026 with a fucked up surprise. Their health insurance just increased drastically in price. Overnight, the enhanced ACA subsidies expired, and Congress did nothing to stop it. Nothing. But I don't think anyone is surprised. These tax credits kept premiums affordable for over 20 million people. Self-employed workers, farmers, small business owners, parents, people who don't get insurance from a job and don't qualify for Medicaid or Medicare. Some families are seeing costs double. Others are seeing them triple. One mom's premium went from $85 a month to nearly $750. Another went from $350 to $500 just to stay covered. Lawmakers knew this deadline was coming for years. Democrats warned about it. Even some Republicans admitted it was a problem. Trump floated a fix, then backed off after conservative backlash. So the subsidies died. At the same time, Congress already slashed over $1 trillion from healthcare and food assistance, and now millions are being told to figure it out. Experts say nearly 5 million people could drop coverage entirely this year because they simply cannot afford it, which makes healthcare more expensive for everyone else. So that sucks. People are now choosing between rent, groceries, and staying alive. Keep in mind, this is a political choice. Affordability is voters' #1 issue heading into the midterms, and Washington just made healthcare dramatically more expensive for millions of families.
All right. This is terrible, but what are people going to do? The premiums are jumping up, whether you like it or not. This was what they were talking about in 2025, and this is not the only time I've spoken about this. So that time is here now. It is here. And I feel bad, especially for people that have any children or teens or even adults in your house with a disability. You know, people just can't do this. But hey, this is Donald Trump and his administration, you know? And to this very day, and it's so annoying, Donald Trump is always talking about Joe Biden. You can thank Joe Biden. No, Donald Trump, you are the sitting president now. You can't push everything you're doing on Joe Biden. This is you doing this. So, man, you know, my prayers go out to any of my Israelite family that is dealing with bills they just can't afford, especially with this health care. And what can you do, especially if you have health problems? You know, you're going to need insurance. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that everybody will enjoy the rest of your evening and Shabbat. And I will see you tomorrow with new topics. And I think you're going to be blown away by some of the stuff I have lined up. So I will see you all tomorrow for my live streams and Bible study as well. Shabbat Shalom, family.